Hi, and welcome to Wrong Way. And this is the 1,000 kilometer, actually a bit above 1,000 kilometer, update review of the InMotion V11. So let me tell you more about it. Wrong Way. So if you want to know how the V11 works, what's it all about, like all the details, I highly recommend checking out the review I did before on the V11. This will be more sort of a update. What are the things that I have noticed after riding this wheel for above 1,000 kilometers? So maybe first thing I noticed is that it's awesome. I mean, the suspension, it's really like one of a kind in terms of comfort, especially if you're going in the woods, especially if you're going somewhere downstairs or just on a bumpy road. It helps out a lot, and there isn't a lot of stuff that can actually there is nothing that can deliver the same amount of comfort like the suspension on the V11, like a non-suspension unicycle. Like even if you have more inches, like it's just not achievable. So next thing I notice is that a lot of people, like, it's really like an eye catcher. I can go on the Veteran, I can go on other electric unicycles, but basically I don't get like nearly as many looks as on the V11. Like partially probably because I'm like also standing up higher on this wheel, but the LED light and the combination of all these things is, it just works. It just makes you really visible and sort of an eye catcher. I've also found that the suspension works really good in most cases. But one thing you need to watch out for is like when you bottom it out. So if you were to go over a speed bump and you bottom out the suspension, or you just go a bit too fast on it, then it will catapult you like even harder than a wheel without suspension. And this is what happened to a friend of mine. Cheers, Bogdan. He fell at around 40 kilometers an hour on the V11, and luckily nothing major happened to him, and nothing major happened to the wheel. So just one screw came loose here, and this is basically the only issue with the 11. And I can ride without the screw. Basically I don't feel it at all, but this thing fell off, and maybe this is an area where you could just have, two screws or just a bit of a more robust construction than what is here. So yeah, if you go fast over a speed bump, you need to like really tightly grab the wheel, or get something like this. These are Flypads from Hulai Market. With these you can actually also jump with the wheel. Let's check it out. That's basically how it works. This will also prevent, getting off the wheel if you bottom it out. I think actually that is what happened to Hsiang in his fall, but I can just have a theory on that. I really love the lights. They just keep being awesome. They have the best beam. They don't blind people. And I love the daytime running light. It's just so cool to go in the park and just have the daytime running light on, as I have, for example, now. I don't need the high beam, I just need this one. The pedals are of a nice size and could be a bit more tilted, but still it's really comfortable. Now, from the performance standpoint, that's where, I really got a bit tired. I mean, not really tired, but that's where the V11 lacks, sort of, because it's a 84 volt wheel and it limits the power quite early. Like, you can really feel it. It almost feels a little bit less powerful than a Galway Tesla V2. So when you go fast, like especially, like even when I have full battery, it would tilt me back quite early, and it's really hard to reach, the 50 something kilometers that this wheel is capable of. And yeah, if I want to accelerate, like, check this out. It's like, it already tilts me back, and it beeps a lot at me. Like, I find it to be a good wheel, like anywhere if you go over a rough terrain, or if you go just on a bicycle path. There you probably won't mind that it limits you quite early. But if you go on the road, yeah, when you basically come from a Godway wheel higher than the MCM5, you will feel a lack of performance here. When it comes to range, I really didn't mind it. It's fine, but I really want that 5 amp quick charge. Currently I have just the 2.5 amp charger, and it's, you know, enough if I just charge at night or if I have a bit more time. Dziękuję. If I have a bit more time for charging, but you know, for longer rides or for a bit, you know, faster charging, if you're, for example, in a restaurant or something like that, this is just not enough. So you would need the second charger for that. I'm also really curious about trying the new InMotion seat. I think that will be really cool. But actually, I'm not looking that much forward to the power pads. I just installed, you know, a different material here on the side, which is just a yoga pad, and it works fine. I think that with power pads, I think you can actually overpower the wheel quite easily. So I was trying to go, you know, upstairs on the wheel, and yeah, it just doesn't have the same, you know, amounts of torque like the MSP. So I even think that the MSP is a better wheel to go upstairs than the V11, even though it has the suspension. When it comes to, you know, just stuff that wears, like the suspension is fine. I have to pump it up every, you know, 100, 200, maybe 300 kilometers, but you know, it works fine. I never actually pumped up the negative chamber because it's just a hassle, big hassle to do that. I hope it's fine. Maybe we will check out the negative chamber later, and for sure later I will check out how the wheel looks like from the inside, maybe at 2,000 kilometers or 3,000 kilometers. You know, I do ride this wheel quite a bit, especially now that I don't have another powerful wheel. So yeah, we'll check on that later. I rode this thing during thunderstorms, during warm weather, sort of cold weather, and it performs flawlessly. The only thing I did notice is that when I go slow, there's some sort of a vibration in the structures. It sort of makes a howling sound. And the second thing is that I also did notice that the bearings, when I leave the wheel for a longer time without any, you know, any riding, then they start to make some sort of a scratchy noise.
Hello, Master Adam.
First couple meters, but after that it's fine. So perhaps I do need new bearings for the wheel, but after these first, you know, 5 to 10 meters, the wheel behaves fine. So maybe I do not need it after all. The last thing that I noticed is that there is some sort of a small clack, like a small intolerance in the upper housing. So this is just a matter of washers, like additional washers you need, but there is like a clack. It's going, I don't know, it's maybe like half a centimeter or so that is just going backwards and forwards. I don't really notice it during riding, so it's not really like a big issue to me, but you know, I just wanted to tell you guys about it. I always forget to close up the charge port, so I also noticed it in the Black Cobra's video. He also forgot it in his V11, so that's a thing you have to keep in mind when you charge it. You know, it just doesn't close by itself. You have to, you know, keep in mind that it's there. I used the charge port, USB charge port once. I don't mind the charge ports that are installed here. They're just fine. And so, oh yeah, one more thing, the trolley handle works really well. The lift sensor works really well, but the trolley handle doesn't go up by itself. So maybe they fixed it in some newer iterations, but in here, if I want to just get the trolley handle out, yeah, I have to like do this motion. This doesn't open the trolley handle. I have to like make two things. Yeah, I really like the solution that I can also lift the wheel and have the trolley handle up at the same time. And I really love the fact that there's this battery indicator. It helps out a lot. The button is also in a perfect spot, and I love the fact that I just need to turn on and off the light. There are no more modes, nothing else here, so that's pretty cool. I do miss the LED lights on the side. If you want to see a light mod, the Black Cobra came up with one, so big shout out to him. You can check out his. Oh yeah, see, was bottoming out. In this situation, these things help out massively, like really massively. So yeah, I still miss the speaker. There's no speaker here. I mean, just for the startup noise. I like that I can customize it, so when I turn on my wheel, it says, "Hello, Master Adam," or whatever I like, basically. So, in total, I think it's a great commuter wheel. It held up pretty nicely over the 1,000 kilometers. It lacks a bit in the performance department. Could be more powerful, could have a higher top speed, could have a bit more torque and limit the acceleration later. But I really like how it handles. I love the high position of the pedals, and this is really a unique thing across the EOC world. This thing has pedals that are so high you'll basically never scrape them. I love the handling of it, therefore I can really tilt the wheel hard in turns like not any other wheel. Well, so yeah, it's really a great wheel, really great commuter, great all-around wheel. But if you're coming from a Gotway or a more powerful wheel, you will miss the performance here. So yeah. Well, maybe one more bonus about the cornering. You'll really need to get used to the wheel, like 200, 300 kilometers perhaps, and then you start feeling it right. And now I have also my barefoot shoes, and then it becomes really a dream to handle this wheel. But you know, it really takes some time to, you know, feel how it turns, how it behaves on the turns, and basically how it works. If you're still here, leave a like on the video, subscribe to see more content like this. I'll see you in the next video.